Hello and welcome to The Absurds. My name is GiBi, and I have written scripts well over 100 pages before, but I have never tackled a subject like this. This is the most complicated narrative I have ever unwound on my channel. If you're a longtime viewer, then you know that my bread and butter are unbelievable stranger-than-fiction true stories, and fictional worlds that are so detailed they feel like reality. And the most interesting thing I discuss are the intersections between these fantastical fictions and the unbelievable stories and joy behind their creations. In this video, I'm going to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's. The internet will have you believe this is the most complicated video game story ever told. And they are correct. Well, this video is going to serve as a full overview of the franchise, so even people who are completely unfamiliar with it will be able to follow along. But I will also go into minute detail as I attempt to do the impossible and craft a coherent, all-encompassing timeline of events in FNAF. So if you've been with the franchise since 2014 like I have, or if you just want to know what all the fuss is about with the new movie coming out, stay tuned. We're about to go on a journey together. Buckle up for the next 7 or so hours.
This is a message to Pixar community. My name is Lisa Kling 3.0.
Five Nights at Freddy's started life as an indie game developed by a single man, Scott Cawthon. It has since spawned nearly a dozen sequels, multiple series of novels, and an upcoming movie being produced by horror juggernaut Blumhouse. I say upcoming knowing full well that within a few short weeks this video will be outdated by the movie, but hey, that's how YouTube works. I can't sit on this video forever. Most people know the story by heart, but it's important to cover the origins of the franchise, because I think that understanding the author is one of the best ways to start looking into the meaning of a piece of art. Scott Cawthon released several failed indie games before Five Nights at Freddy's, most of them using simple yet stylized graphics that look straight out of the early 90s. Something that's brought up a lot is that Scott is a devout Christian, and so his games featured themes that you would find in works created by religious people. I don't think that's actually an important part of the story of Five Nights at Freddy's, which I'm going to call FNAF from now on, because that's just way too long of a title to keep saying. I think the internet just likes highlighting Scott as being religious, because it makes the turn from bright and chipper games he used to make to the dark and legitimately disturbing FNAF all the more drastic? Dramatic? Of course, I don't want to undercut the role that God plays in works created by faithful people. I think a lot of religious people would say that God is present in all of their creative endeavors. But it's so weird to me that people label Scott as a Christian when so many creators, especially here in America, are Christian. I've never seen a video essay about Skyrim opened by discussing how Todd Howard is Catholic. I just think it's wild that when people are discussing FNAF theories, someone will say, well, you know, Scott is Christian, as if the vast majority of art people... Anyway, the game he made right before FNAF was actually called Chipper & Sons Lumber Company. See, that's why I described his older games as Chipper. Is a pun. But before Scott made Chipper & Sons, he created a much darker game in 2012 called The Desolate Hope. This game is intentionally dark, frightening even. Scott didn't go from VeggieTales to child murder. He was a normal, adult creator who made some games for kids and some games for older people. Again, I think the focus on Scott's past is meant to point to FNAF being this breaking point, where he was so desperate with one final chance for success that he let the inner darkness of his soul come out to make this horrific experience. But I honestly don't think it was that dramatic. A major criticism of Chipper & Sons was that the characters looked like scary animatronics, and so Scott decided his next game would have intentionally scary animatronics. I don't think Scott was waving his fist in the air saying, if this is what you want, I'll show you scary. I think he did what he would continue to do while making the FNAF series. He made his next game using the feedback he got from his previous game. And so Five Nights at Freddy's was born. A horror game about demonic-looking animatronics right out of your 1980s Chuck E. Cheese-inspired nightmares. Like Slender the 8 pages before it, FNAF became a favorite among YouTube Let's Players because it gave them plenty of opportunities to scream loudly at the camera to entertain their viewers.
Oh god! What the okay?
The game became very popular after being picked up by big Let's Players like Markiplier. It sold enough copies that Scott could quit his day job and develop games as a career. I don't think Scott made his game with YouTubers in mind, I think it was a happy accident. But that's not to take away from what made the original FNAF really great. FNAF is this weird mix of many video game genres that has never really existed before.